And welcome back to SWBA Today. And in today's episode, we are going to be doing some Game 2 previews as we have three games that are set to take place tonight. We got the Indiana Pacers versus the Milwaukee Bucks. We got the Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Los Angeles Lakers, and we got the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Memphis Grizzlies. And so let's go ahead and start with game number one, and that is going to be the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Indiana Pacers. And so currently the Pacers lead this series 1-0. They won the first game 117-98, and there's several key takeaways out of game one. And so let's start with Indiana and their defense. I thought that first, their defense against Giannis, it was incredible because he had 36 points, yes, but he was 14 of 23 from the field. He was 0 of 2 from deep, but he also had 5 turnovers. And so I think that the Indiana Pacers did a terrific job in giving him different looks. I like the fact that in their single coverages, they've really made it tough for Giannis, even though he was able to win on some of those. And then I love the fact that they were running some things at him where there was stunts. And so they were faking like it was going to be a double. Sometimes they did double. Sometimes they ran a zone on him. And so I love that with Indiana. I love the defensive attention to detail. And I think that that was key number one is what they did with Giannis. And I think another key aspect with the way that they played Giannis is Giannis only had 1 assist. And that means that they let Giannis get his, and then they took away the others. Because you see, if you go back into the box score, there was no other Milwaukee Buck that scored more than 15 points. I thought that that was terrific defense from the Indiana Pacers to make it really uncomfortable for everybody else that was playing alongside of Giannis, because you see that Taurean Prince, he had 0 points. Kyle Kuzma, he had 0 as well. I mean, they just took away just any other options that Giannis would want to go to and made it tough on everybody else. And for the Milwaukee Bucks, it's been a team that has really been good shooting the three ball. In fact, they led the SWBA in the season, shooting 38.7% from downtown. They only shot 2 of 16 in the first half, and they finished 9 of 37 in the entire game. And so I think that the Indiana Pacers they did a terrific job of contesting it and not fouling. And so you got to give the Pacers a ton of credit defensively. And then next up, when you're talking about just the supporting cast, I think that that's where the Pacers really excel. And I think that that's why I like them in this series, because not only are they playing like they did a season ago when they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, but you are seeing a team that has really come together from its bench standpoint. Like, I like what I'm seeing from Obi Toppin. Yes, I know he only scored 6. And I like what I'm also seeing too from Jarius Walker. I think that he's played very well off the bench. Defensively, what these guys are giving you, knocking down some shots. And I love the addition of Thomas Bryant. I think that that trade was very underrated, giving the Pacers a backup big that could step out and knock down three-point shots. Because remember, that is what Miles Turner likes to do. He likes to step out, knock down shots. He can score inside, but you get a very good defender, I think, in Thomas Bryant, and then you get a guy that is willing to knock down three-point shots. And so the Indiana Pacers and their supporting cast, I think, were very good in this game. And I think that that is really where it's going to be tough for the Milwaukee Bucks, because they have got to get some better performances out there. You have Bobby Portis, who scored 4 points. That cannot happen, especially how big he's been for this team. And then I think another stat that really kind of leads me to the Indiana Pacers, and it really scares me with the Milwaukee Bucks, is that, yes, the Bucks are a great team. They've competed very well against the Eastern Conference. They're 31-21 against the Eastern Conference. However, they're 5-9 in games decided by less than 4 points. What happens in the playoffs? The games slow down. The games get tighter. And I just, without Dame Lillard out there, it's hard to pick the Milwaukee Bucks. And so if the Bucks are going to win this series, they need to get Damian Lillard back very soon. And Damian Lillard, we don't know what type of shape Damian Lillard is going to be in. Is he going to be that clutch player that the Milwaukee Bucks need? Because that is going to be the difference in this series. Somebody else besides Giannis is going to have to step up, and somebody else is going to have to be clutch too as well. Right now, the Milwaukee Bucks do not have that. And so look for that in game 2 coming up here is just, can the Milwaukee Bucks get the others going? Can Giannis be a little bit more of a point forward? Can they get this defense of the Indiana Pacers to loosen up? And can their others play poorly? But I like the Indiana Pacers to take this game 2 tonight, but we'll see what happens. And so next up, the next game that we want to talk about here is the game where everybody has the Minnesota Timberwolves as underdogs. I have them in 7. And so, look, the Lakers came out in this first game and it looked very good initially, but man, then you see the Minnesota Timberwolves just take it to the Lakers. And so they're up in that series 1-0. 117-95. They win that. And isn't it funny that it almost mimics what the Pacers did to the Bucks, because they won 117-98. And so, look, I liked everything that I saw from the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I talked about this a little bit on SW Today. Like, I love the press conference that I saw from Anthony Edwards when they were asked about, how do you feel about the Lakers being picked? And he was just like, well, you know what? They went ahead and they picked them, and we're just gonna come out and compete. And I love that with Anthony Edwards when you hear that from your leader, and that's the type of mindset that we saw in game 1. And I think with the Lakers, yes, they have LeBron, yes, they have Luka, but I think that what we saw in this first game is really what a lot of us have been talking about with this team. And it's going to be their ability to really take care of business inside, whether it's scoring or defending, because this is a team that averaged 48 points per game in the paint, and that was with Luka scoring 14. So he does a terrific job as far as getting downhill. In game 1, when you look at the points in the paint, the Minnesota Timberwolves scored 44, and not only did they score 44, but they kept the Lakers down to 32. And I just told you that they averaged 48 points per. And so that just lets you know, look, the playoffs, it's a different type of beast. And then for the Timberwolves to come out and take away that aspect of the game for the Lakers, look, they're already challenged inside with what they have. And when you look at the box score, look, they have got to get better play from their bigs, because Jackson Hayes, he had 1 point. He had 3 rebounds in 8 minutes of play. Then when you look at Jared Vanderbilt, only 2 points and 4 rebounds in 14 minutes of play. And after that, the Lakers don't have any bigs. And so that Mark Williams trade, that really hurt the Lakers, man. Like, I think that they needed to have another big out there that could definitely get some boards, could be a bit more of a presence inside. So I think that that is going to be key number 1 to take a look at in tonight's game. The Lakers have got to find a way to get some easier shots in the paint. It cannot be all perimeter based. And I'm not saying that, Hachimura, LeBron, Luka, Austin Reeves, like, I'm not saying that these guys can't hit shots, but you cannot be in a playoff series like this and be one-dimensional. So that is key number 1. The Minnesota Timberwolves made the Lakers one-dimensional. And I think key number 2 is that Anthony Edwards, look, I know he was only 8 of 22 from the field, but I think that there were a lot of things that he was able to do, because he almost had a triple-double in game 1. He had 9 assists. And so not only was he scoring, but he was a playmaker out there. He had 8 rebounds as well. And he shot 4 of 9 from deep, which has really been a calling card for Anthony Edwards this year. I think it's been phenomenal that he's been able to get to the rack the way that he's been able to, and then also to knock down these 3-point shots. And so, look, this team, I'm talking about the Lakers. Look, they look like they're in trouble. I know it's going to be tough to just outright get LeBron James out, but I do like the Minnesota Timberwolves in 7 in this one. I mean, you're getting some good contributions from Julius Randle. He had 16. I love what they got from Jaden McDaniels, who I feel like is really kind of the X factor in this series. He had 25. He was plus 27, and he talked about just having the confidence to shoot the basketball. and Naz Reid looked very good off the bench. And so, look, a lot of size, a lot of length, just a lot of ways that they can score and kind of chop up the Lakers. Like, I don't think that the physicality is going to be really the thing in question in this game, but man, you can't be one dimensional. And so we'll see what happens in tonight's game. But man, I like the Minnesota Timberwolves, and I like how they came out there in game one. And so next up, we're talking about the last game of the night, and that is going to be the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Memphis Grizzlies. So actually, this is not the last game of the night, but this is the last game that we're going to talk about. And so, look, what more can you say about this team? And I'm talking about the Thunder, because the Thunder, look, they are a team that just look like that they are destined to just really get out of the West. I mean, I don't think that there's really any kind of key out of this one. Just that this team is just that much more better. I mean, the 51-point margin, that was just 7 points shy of the record of the largest game one win in SWBA playoff history. And it's just the way that the Thunder did it. It wasn't just scoring the basketball. It was like they were locking up the Grizzlies, rebounds, fast breaks, whatever. It just, the Thunder just beat this team in every way. Like, I just don't know where the Memphis Grizzlies really go from here. I think that, yes, you're looking for a better contribution from Ja Morant, who I think he was everything for them in game one. I think he did everything he could. He had 17 points and 4 assists in that game. So you'd like to see him be a little bit more of a playmaker. Yes, you want to see him become a bit more of a scorer too. But I think one of the key things in his stat line was he was 1 of 6 from downtown. And if you want to really kind of slow down Ja Morant, then you want to make him play off ball. You want to make him come off staggered screens. You want to turn him into a jump shooter. And I think that that is really, I think, one of the things that slows him down. And I think that the Thunder did a terrific job in doing that and forcing him into that. But aside from what Ja Morant did, you got to have some better contributions from the others, because Jaren Jackson Jr., 4 points, 2 of 13 shooting. That's not going to get it done. Zach Edey, 4 points, 2 of 5 from the field, not going to get it done. Desmond Bane only got you 9 points. He's got to score a lot more. And then Marvin Bagley, the third, shout out to him. He didn't miss a shot. And so you still need that, but you still got to get some better contributions from Adama. He only had 5. Stevens only 4. I like Jay Huff a lot. I think he's a big that can stretch the floor. I'd like to see them play him a little bit more. And also, too, Luke Kennard, a guy that can knock down 3-point shots. I think that he's got to find a way to get him in the game. And I'm talking about the Memphis Grizzlies coach. But other than that, look, this is going to be, I think, the OKC Thunder. I said this before. I think that, look, it's brilliant as Ja Morant is. Nobody wants to see Lou Dort. Lou Dort is probably one of the best, if not the best, two-way player in the SWBA right now, because he will lock you up. And then not only that, he will score on you. So he's going to make you work on the defensive end as well. So it just wears you down. He had 12 points in this game, 4 of 8 from downtown, knocked down some good ones. He was plus 22 and just defensively was a menace. You got Isaiah Hartenstein and then Chat Holmgren just kind of manning the middle. Hartenstein 14, Holmgren had 19. Like, just any way that you wanted to go in this game, any way of pace you want to play with this game, the OKC Thunder have you. So I like them in this game too. And so anyway, let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking. Do you think that the Memphis Grizzlies are going to find a way to get a split tonight on the road against the Thunder? Do you think that the Lakers are going to respond at home and force the split as they get ready after this to go to Minnesota? And then next, what do you think about Giannis? We know that Dame Lillard is going to come back. I think he's questionable going into game 2. I think originally it was reported that we could probably see him in a game 3 situation, but questionable for tonight. Would that change this series now if he's able to play? Do you think that the Bucks are going to be able to even it up against a very tough defensive-minded team, at least in game 1? With the Indiana Pacers? So I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. And as we always say, see the game and be the game. I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, peace.